are doing and ready for another exciting meeting at the Future Leaders Gavel Club. My name is Claire, and it is an honor to be your current club president, and I would like to officially call this meeting to order. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our guests, and we sincerely hope you all will enjoy and learn from this experience. The Future Leaders Gavel Club is a Toastmasters club open to middle and high school students, in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Each meeting has three parts. Firstly is our prepared speech section. Second is the table topics or impromptu speaking section. And then finally is the evaluation section. And before we get started, it is wonderful to see everyone again. I know I was out for the past couple of weeks, but I'm sure Interim President Angelina handled the meeting really well, and I'm sure everything went smoothly and you all had a great time. So thanks to Angelina for taking over while I was gone. I attended a brief summer program for a while. And then before that, I also attended the national, or I think it was the North America, either the USA or the North America Speech Evaluation Contest. And I was very honored to be named the champion for that. So I hope that while I'm gone, everyone had a great time and was able to enjoy your summer. And one more thing I wanted to announce was that I believe right now is around the time when usually our officer elections happen. So usually that would be from the term from July to December. And if there are no objections, I would love to plan for our officer election meeting to happen next Wednesday. So next week's meeting. And for that, for those of you who have been through this process already, you know that via email, we will send out some kind of spreadsheet, or it'll probably be a tab in the meeting role sign up spreadsheet. And you guys will be able to sign up for specific roles, and then we'll conduct the election next Wednesday, where for each role, you will be able to give a 2 to 3 minute speech on whatever you would like, and then we'll have people vote. Does anyone have any questions about officer elections? All right, if anyone ever has any questions, you can ask throughout this meeting. And for officer elections, we encourage anyone to feel free to write your name down, and then we'll conduct the officer elections next Wednesday. No matter how much experience you've had, we'd love for you guys to try it out. And there are plenty of rules available, as you guys have seen. And there's also a document for that. I believe it's the FLGC officer rules description, which I can send in the chat right now if any of you guys want to take a look. But that will also be in the agenda email that is sent out as well. All right, so in the chat, that's just the brief descriptions about each role. And if no one has any questions, I would love to pass it on to the Toastmaster of the day, who is myself. All right, so first of all, we will begin by introducing our functionaries. So we'll start with, I believe we'll start with the ad counter, who is either Caleb or a guest who volunteers.
Thank you so much, Claire. So first, I would like to ask all of our guests tonight, would you like to be all counter? Basically, the role is very simple. All you have to do is listen for things like So today I'm and then every time that you hear someone say a certain crutch word, you just write it down in a spreadsheet that we have kindly provided in the instructions for this particular role. So it's very simple, and of course, if this And question in the chat, is this club only for 7th graders? Actually, no. It's basically from 6th grade through 5th grade, but if you're mature enough to be able to speak in a meeting like this, you're basically good to go. So that's, I know in some of our promotional flyers or website it says 7th grade, but if you're before 7th grade, you're totally fine. And then basically you're going to deliver your all counter report at the end of the meeting, and that'll be all you have to do. So would anyone of our guests like to be the all counter for this meeting? Henry, would you be interested in being all counter? Maybe. How about Andrew? Are you interested in being all counter? By the way, everyone, you can all turn on your camera so we can see you and have a better interaction. Wait, Andrew, can you say that again? I think your mic might have glitched out real quick. Would you like to be all counter?
My mic is, my mic works.
Yep, it works now.
Yeah, okay, sure.
All right. So, Claire, could you send Andrew the instructions for the all counter, and we'll come back soon to that. Now, the next role that we have is the grammarian's role. So the grammarian is similar to the all counter, but different in that the grammarian listens for words that might have been misused or grammar that is incorrect, such as me went to the restaurant. And you would be noting that down and saying that it was incorrect and it should be I went to the restaurant. And then you will give a report at the end of the meeting, and you also listen for the word of the day, which is pomp. Pomp means a ceremony or splendid display, especially for a public event. So would someone like to be the grammarian? And if not, Michelle can do it, but we would love for all of you to be able to try out the new roles. Henry, would you be interested in this role?
Sorry, what?
Would you be interested in the grammarian's role, in which you listen for incorrect grammar mistakes?
No thanks.
Okay, no worries at all. How about Anthony? Would you be interested in this role?
No.
Okay. Jacob, would you be interested? Again, it's totally fine if you would just like to continue watching. So in that regard, we will have Michelle be the grammarian. Michelle, would you like to introduce the grammarian's role?
Yeah. Okay, being a grammarian is basically you have two basic responsibilities. First, you have to introduce new words, such as the word of the day, which today, as Caleb said, is pomp, I believe, which means a ceremony or splendid display, especially at a public display. Wait, oops, I mean public event. And secondly, I have to comment on the use of English and grammar in this meeting. So now I believe I'll be handing control back to Claire.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that explanation. And then next, I will pass it to the timer of the day, who I believe is Caleb.
Thank you, Claire. As a timer, I will monitor the time for each speaker, and I will signal the time at the beginning of the minimum required time. That will be green, yellow at the middle of the expected time, and red at the end of the allotted or agreed upon time. And at the end of the meeting, I will also be sharing a report of the time that every speaker used. Thank you, and back to you.
All right, thank you so much to Caleb. And then next, I believe I'll pass it. Yeah, I will pass it to our general evaluator, who is Michelle.
Alrighty, so as a general evaluator, I will be managing the evaluation portion of the meeting by calling on the speech evaluators, then the functionaries. And at the end of my portion, I will be providing a report of the meeting in as general or whatever. My bad. So back to you, Claire.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And without further ado, we will begin with our first speech of the meeting, which is by Angelina. And the title of the speech is The Effect of Kindness. Angelina, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Claire. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to help someone, but you didn't want to feel awkward or you weren't sure if you should help them? I've been in that situation countless of times and I know how you feel. Good evening, everyone. Today I will be talking about kindness and how one act of kindness can make someone's day better and even change the world in some instances. I will talk about some of the science behind kindness, how kindness can benefit both the giver and the receiver, and some examples of kindness that can be seen in the real world. Kindness includes a wide range of feelings like compassion, thoughtfulness, empathy, warmth, and generosity. Kindness involves a genuine desire to help others and offer them support. It paves the way for people to be seen, valued, and heard. Most importantly, kindness is contagious. Think of one act of kindness someone showed to you that made your day better. Whether it was something small like helping you pick up something you dropped, or something that made an impact on your life, like offering you assistance on an important project or test, an act of kindness can go a long way. Studies show that kindness chains, where acts of kindness are connected, can promote a positive ripple effect within a community, as well as boost an individual's well-being. Research also indicates that performing an act of kindness releases happy hormones like serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin in the brain, which contributes to an improved mood and overall well-being. These neurotransmitters in the brain give you feelings of satisfaction and sometimes release endorphins, your body's natural painkiller. Besides lifting spirit, kindness has also been proven to help with many other aspects of life. One study showed that kindness can reduce anxiety. Socially anxious participants who engaged in acts of kindness for 4 weeks showed a decrease in social avoidance goals. Kindness has also been shown to increase immune response levels as well. In a trial, patients who rated their clinicians and doctors as showing greater empathy had reduced common cold severity and duration, and their immune system response levels had increased. Additionally, research shows that kindness can be cardioprotective. This means that being kind can protect your heart, literally, by decreasing blood pressure and cortisol levels, which is a hormone that directly impacts your stress levels. And kindness can do this all at the same time. Of course, these are just a few reasons why kindness can be beneficial for both the giver and the receiver. And there are so many more reasons why being kind is important. There have been many instances in the real world where kindness was vital to helping the world become a better place. One of the most common and prominent examples of kindness that has benefited a large group of people are disaster relief organizations. Natural disasters like hurricanes, earthquakes, and floods affect over 100 million people every year and also result in economic losses of around $280 billion. These natural disasters leave people without homes and without access to clean water and food. As a means to assist and help these families and individuals, many organizations and nonprofit groups like the American Red Cross offer food, water, financial aid, and shelters for them. This is one of the many examples where kindness plays a role in helping people work together to support each other and their community. Now, kindness doesn't always have to stem from a big effort. Kindness can be shown through small actions as well, such as holding the door open for someone or giving someone a compliment. While it's impossible to know exactly how many people perform an act of kindness every day, one study that surveyed over 2,700 users found that 65% of the people they surveyed said that they perform or abandon an act of kindness daily. Additionally, 83% of the people surveyed said that they randomly do something kind for someone at least once a week. And when asked why, the majority of people stated that they're kind because it simply makes them feel good. When you add this information to the science backing up kindness, it's no wonder that more than 15 million acts of human kindness are committed every day across the entire globe. According to Dan Rust, the Vice President of Global Leadership and Commercial Development at LinkedIn. Even though it may not seem like much at the time, the next time you get the chance to perform an act of kindness, take it. If you see someone and you like their outfit or their hairstyle, let them know. Shoot them a quick compliment and give them a warm smile. Behind the scenes, they might have spent hours deciding what they wanted to wear or how they wanted to style their hair. So your input could make their day. That person could pass on your act of kindness by complimenting someone else, who could pass it on to another person, creating a kindness chain. Don't hesitate to make someone's day better. It's extremely easy to perform small acts of kindness every day while also boosting your own health. So the next time you're unsure of whether you should compliment someone on their outfit that you really like or help hold the door open for someone, do it and be one of those 15 million people that perform an act of kindness every day. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Claire.
Thank you so much, Angelina, for an amazing speech about acts of kindness. Next, I would like to pass it on to our second speaker of the day, who is Kara, and the speech title is You're Ready to Hear This. Kara, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Claire. Just so everyone knows, that wasn't actually my speech title. I don't know why it got there, probably just a mix-up, but yeah. Okay, I'll begin now. This is the story of my experience with a TV show that is pretty near and dear to my heart. And to give you an idea of how it impacted me and changed me, I first have to tell you what my life felt like before I was introduced to this TV show. The year was 2024. It was springtime. But I honestly couldn't even tell you what the weather was like because I was buried 6 feet under index cards and metal shavings. My daily schedule was incredibly busy. I would wake up, go to school, and then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I would go to robotics afterward from 6 to 9. Then on weekends, I would go to robotics from 1 to 9. That's 8 hours. And the rest of the time was filled up by homework, mostly history homework, which consisted of reading off a textbook and answering questions. Or maybe history studying, which was rereading the textbook and making notes. But the thing was that the busy schedule wasn't the worst part. It was more like the stress that it induced on me. For example, the history tests were very hard for me, and I performed pretty well on them, but I spent so much time studying, and I hated every second of it. At robotics, I was faced with a ton of pressure because I was going in with only my second year, but with the position of manufacturing co-lead, because the students from the previous year had graduated or left the team, and there wasn't really anyone experienced enough for the position. And so I was facing the pressure of having to perform well in this pretty renowned team and try to get us to championships and not break our 10-year-long streak. And that's when there was the TV show that felt like my rescue. And when the pressure felt like too much, it shared the burden. And that show was The Amazing World of Gumball. It's a kid's cartoon, so a lot of people watched it in their childhood, but I was first discovering it in this setting that I talked about, and It was late at night, I was on YouTube and I saw a video called Gumball Out of Context. So I watched it. And before I even watched the actual show, through watching out of context clips, I developed such an affection for the TV show. And when I finally binged the show, all 40 episodes per season and 6 seasons in under a month, I realized that this show means so much to me. But what about this show made it so impactful? Well, Gumball as a show is pretty devoid of pomp, but most people agree that Gumball is pretty good. It's meta, it's edgy, it's chaotic, but to me, the important part was that at its core, Gumball is just a show about a boy and his brother going through the ups and downs of childhood, cracking dumb potty jokes, getting into trouble, and having a good time. And to sum it up, here's a quote from the show. "We enjoy it while we can, we enjoy it while we're kids, we enjoy it while there's still time to make the most of it." And this singular quote genuinely changed my perspective on how I was living life. Because if you're always planning for the future, you really do miss out on the present. And no matter how much of a mixed bag your teenage years can be, if you pass that mixed bag along without rummaging through it, you'll never get that same bag back again. And I suddenly realized that I was stressed out about history, but my actual history grades were fine. I was getting A's, my GPA was not very affected. And I was stressed out about robotics, but robotics was supposed to be just for fun. Nobody was going to blame me personally if we didn't get to championships. And we did end up getting to championships in the end. The funny thing is that I'd heard that simple message, enjoy being a kid, a million times. But Gumball was the show that made it click. It was something about the show's self-awareness, its social commentary, and all of the cleverness coupled with the stupid potty humor. And with that, I finally understood the message that I was given so many times. So did I end up making any changes to my schedule that year? Well, no, I did not dial down the studying, and I did not drop robotics. But the following year, I decided against AP World History, and I resigned from my position as co-lead of manufacturing. For what feels like years, I've lived my life as a self-made academic weapon, putting pressure on myself to excel in things that I don't always enjoy doing. And this show, which, by the way, is dropping a new season this month after stopping for 7 years, this show showed me that life could be better if I just cared a little less. And don't worry, I'm still taking hard classes. I still get irrationally stressed out by an A-, but thanks to the amazing world of Gumball, I'm learning to make my happiness more of a priority. Because seeing Gumball and Darwin go through life, just slacking off, getting crushes, embarrassing themselves, it always reminds me that at the end of the day, life's not that deep. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Kara, for an amazing speech. And next on, we will pass it to the table topics master for today, who will be Devin. And the theme is If I Could.
Thank you, Toastmaster Claire. And today, as Claire introduced, our table topic theme is If I Could, which is a fun and imaginative topic where we might even discover new wishes and dreams together. So let's begin. For our first question, which is for Caleb. If you could be famous for something, what would you want to be famous for? Caleb, take it away.
If I could be famous for something, I would want to be famous for showing the world some kind of act of kindness, or for helping the world become a better place. Every one of us lives one life and one life only. And to be honest, fame isn't really that important because it's not about how many people know you. It's about how many people you change, how many lives you can transform. I recently had an experience about this very chasing fame. This past week, I was attending the National Cello Institute, where I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of friends who are at high levels, and I have a lot of friends who are younger than me. Maybe they are at a little bit lower levels on playing cello. And there is definitely an attitude of arrogance and wanting to be famous and playing these super advanced pieces on cello that get everyone, wow. I actually call them show-off pieces. But in reality, those students that are playing these very high advanced pieces oftentimes don't look down and talk to the students that are just learning cello, just starting. Maybe they're at a pretty advanced level, but since they're younger, no one really looks at them and compliments them on a great performance or asks them how their week has been. Instead, they're just stuck with hanging out with the same age group of students. And what I realized this National Cello Institute is it's really a lot of fun to be able to talk to these students that are younger than me and being able to compliment them. And at the end of the Cello Institute, it was really nice because some of the younger students were telling me that they really enjoyed the camp, and they were telling me things like, "Oh, are you going to come back next year?" And I was like, that's really nice that they would say something and they would actually care. But what I realized was that no one really from the higher levels talks to them and wants to get to know them. And really, if I wanted to be famous for something, it wouldn't be necessarily for doing something grand. It would just be for showing acts of kindness, like Angelina mentioned, and simply caring about those around me. Thank you, and back to you.
Really thoughtful points you've made, Caleb, and I really loved your reasoning. I'd probably want you to do the same thing after you expand your idea. For our next question, which is for Claire, if you could live anywhere in the world for 1 year, where would you choose and why?
Thank you so much, Devin, for the question. If I could live anywhere in the world for 1 year, I would not choose a place defined by a glittering sky or royal pomp, but instead I would choose a place with meaning. And perhaps that place would be New Zealand, because ever since I was young, I've heard so many things from my best friend about why she wants to go to New Zealand. Perhaps it's because of her obsession with sheep and the fact that you can have sheep in your backyard and New Zealand. And perhaps in 30 years in the future, I'll live in New Zealand with 30 sheep and my best friend next door. But besides the point about sheep, I would love to go to New Zealand, obviously, because it is an absolutely beautiful place. There is so much greenery and so much scenery to be seen, and I would love to travel outside of the country. I've only been to one country outside of the US, which is China, and I would love to go to other continents around the world and to come out of my comfort zone and experience those new wonders. So regardless if it's exploring new scenery or hanging out with 30 beautiful sheep, I think New Zealand would be at the top of my list for a place I would like to travel to for a year. Thank you, and back to you, Devin.
Awesome answer, Claire. I really liked how attractive your idea was, and I think living in New Zealand would be amazing as well. For our third question of the day, which is for Angelina, if you could speak any language fluently, which one would you choose and why? Angelina, take it away.
Thank you, Devin, for that question. There's definitely a lot of languages that I would want to learn. And if I didn't know how to speak English, I would probably choose English. But since I can already speak fluent English, I think my second choice would be Spanish. Spanish is one of the most spoken languages throughout the world, and I feel like it would be really useful to know it. And I would be able to communicate with a lot of new people and get to talk to them as well. Additionally, I think Spanish would be really useful because I volunteer at a food pantry every weekend, and a lot of people there are immigrants, so they only know how to speak Spanish. And I don't know how to speak Spanish myself, so I always have to ask someone else to help me translate what they're asking for. But if I knew how to speak Spanish, that would be a really useful skill to have, not only to help those people that I was helping in the food pantry, but it would also be a cool language to know how to speak fluently. Thank you, and back to you, Deb.
Angelina, I can really see why you choose the language, and I will probably choose Spanish too. For our next question, which is for Jacob, if you could make one new holiday, what would it celebrate and how would people enjoy it? Jacob, are you here? All right, if not, then I'll give this question to Ethan. Once again, if you could make one new holiday, what would it celebrate and how would people enjoy it?
Well, I would make a holiday called World Cultures Day because I personally believe diversity is important. And on World Cultures Day, people would just gather at the town square or whatever, and then they meet everyone, and then everyone of all cultures, and they would share food, music, and all the other stuff that people would do in the cultures. Um, And yeah, because since cultures are important, that's why I would make World Cultures Day. Thank you.
That was a fantastic response. Ethan, you really nailed it. Your idea for a new holiday sounds so fun, and I'd love to celebrate it too. Great job. For our fifth question, which is for Natasha, if you could be the best in the world at any sports, which sports would you choose and why?
If I could be the best in the world at any sport that I choose, I would pick volleyball. I think there are so many ways to play volleyball with the different settings you can go to. You frequently played already are indoor volleyball, outdoor volleyball. You can even go to the beach and do that with friends. There are definitely a lot of ways to play together, and even the number of people on the teams is quite flexible, and it's not too hard of a game to understand. With this in mind, I think my favorite sport to both watch and the one that I would want to be best at in the world would be volleyball. It's just entertaining for so many different types of people, and it's played in many different settings. And it's a fun one to do with any number of participants. So, yeah, that's what I would choose. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha, for that wonderful speech. I really liked how you described your answer. It was interesting and made so much sense. And And I think it's your first speech, I believe. It is wonderful. It's really amazing. For our next question, which is for Henry. If you could bring back any invention from the future, what would it be and why? Henry, take it away.
Honestly, I'm not too sure if I could bring any invention from the future. Basically, invent anything. All right, I have an idea. So I recently watched this video about a type of technology called a Dyson sphere. Basically, just a giant wall of solar panels around the sun. And I feel like that could solve a lot of problems if we had near unlimited energy like that. Which is the reason I would like to bring one of those back to the present day. However, I'm probably not going to be able to actually fit that in a time machine or anything. So I'm probably going to have to ask for the plans somehow and then have researchers build it now.
Awesome answer, Henry. Even though it's a specific choice, you handle it fantastically. I can already see why you choose this invention. Great idea. For our seventh question, which is for, let's see, which is for David. If you could add one fun thing to your school that doesn't exist now, what would it be? Oh, sorry, Caleb. I don't know that. If not, then for this question, let's ask Hillary. Let me say it again. If you could add one fun thing to your school that doesn't exist now, what would it be?
One fun thing to my school.
Henry, I need to interrupt. I believe Devin meant Hillary, who is
Yeah,
also.
my bad. Maybe
Oh.
If I could add one fun thing to my school, I would add a day based on a game every other Friday. You see, at my swim team, each Friday we base the exercises on a game. For example, Uno, if you draw a +4 card, we have to do 4 more of that exercise. And if you get a skip card, we get to skip the set. And every other Friday, or maybe every month or so, I would want to make the Friday more fun, like based on a game. This way, the students have something forward to look forward to each month, and you'll also get a break from the boringness of school, especially on months that don't have holidays or breaks. Thank you, and back to you, Devin.
Thank you, Hillary. I really loved your answer, and I think every student would love your idea too. You'd probably make the school just much more exciting. And for our final question of the day, which is for Anthony, if you could swap lives with any movie character for a week, who would you choose and why? The stage is yours. As I don't think Anthony is here, then I'll give this question to Andrew. Andrew, take it away.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. If you could swap lives with any movie character for a week, Who would you choose and why? The stage is yours.
Um, so if I could swap lives with any person, any movie character, I think first I'll create a movie where this person has like all the superpowers in the world. Then with that movie, I can then become that superhero. And then because I made the movie by borrowing money from the bank, because obviously I don't have that type of money to make the movie, then I'll just use my superpowers to pay it off. Then for the one day, I'm gonna most likely just like try to like make the most out of it, like have a lot of fun, and then like create like paradoxes. Like, what if I like just become Flash but faster, and then I become Flash but faster, faster. Then become Flash but faster, 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 till I break the speed of light. And then what would happen? And then supposing I don't self-destruct after that one day, I'm pretty sure that I would most likely try to find another way to enjoy that day. And also during that day, I'll become Superman and then like start basically not having to pay for plane tickets and just fly around the world visiting all types of places and finding all of like the best foods to eat, etc., etc. And I'll end the day with like, hmm, oh yeah, end the day with a character that has the ability to just sleep really fast. So that way I'll have a very good rest for the next day.
Thank you, Anju, for that awesome response. Super creative and thoughtful. I saw a lot of people laughing, which is really good. And I definitely agree with what you shared. And that being said, those are all the table topics questions we've got today. Thank you all for participating. And now back to you, Toastmaster Claire.
Thank you so much, Devin, for an amazing table topic session. Next, I would like to pass it to our general evaluator of the day, who is Michelle.
And now I would be transferring control over to Claire, who is our speaker one evaluator or speech one evaluator.
Thank you so much, Michelle. They say kindness costs nothing, but its value is immeasurable. It's one of the very few things in this world that, when given away, often finds its way back. And today, Angelina beautifully reminded us about that truth. Firstly, what I loved about Angelina's speech was she started off with lots of unique evidence and examples. For example, she said that kindness is cardioprotective. She gave us significant evidence that showed us the real world impact of kindness. This made me feel how kindness was relevant to our society, and furthermore, why it was so important in the first place. Second is that I loved how Angelina had a clearly structured and organized speech all the way throughout. For example, she started off quite early in her speech telling us her roadmap. She stated how she would start off with the signs behind kindness, benefits between the giver and the receiver, and even several examples of kindness in society. This allowed us to easily track your speech from start to finish and be able to notice different points you mentioned in your speech and take that away with us after you have finished presenting your speech. So great job with that. Thirdly is call to action. Angelina gave us so many real life, everyday examples towards the end of her speech. For example, she mentioned potentially giving everyone a smile or simple things like complimenting someone's outfit. This showed us how simple acts like that can make such a big difference, and it even inspired me to start thinking about those small actions that I could take today. So really well done, Angelina, on a great speech. And while your speech radiated genuine kindness with great pomp, I'd like to add a few kind suggestions to further benefit your speech. Firstly is personal stories. I would love to have seen more of that emotional vulnerability throughout your speech. For example, one common technique is at the very start of your speech, you can jump right into a story or an anecdote. This can further draw us into your speech and prevent the audience from getting bored. This will also increase the emotional relatability of your speech and allow us to further relate to and connect with you as a speaker. Second is potentially thinking about sharing a more nuanced message. For example, kindness is pretty universally known as beneficial to society. I mean, not everyone is a kind person, but we pretty much see the benefits of kindness. I suggest you not to only show the positive aspects of kindness, but maybe even highlight a nuanced message. Maybe a problem that's preventing society from being kind. That combination allows us to be further interested in your speech and take away something new. So to summarize, I loved how Angelina used lots of evidence and examples, a clearly structured speech, as well as an amazing call to action. But by focusing a little more on those personal stories and a more nuanced message, I'm so confident you will continue spreading kindness and generosity with each future speech. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator Michelle.
Alrighty, thank you for that evaluation, Claire. And I'm sure all of us will benefit from it. Next we have the speech show evaluator, which is Devin. So the stage is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator Michelle. As today's Evaluator 2, I'll provide feedback on Kara's speech, where you shared your favorite TV show. This evaluation will focus on your strengths, suggest areas for improvement, and conclude with 2 challenges you can work on in the future speeches. Kara, your speech provides several strengths that helped to overall effectiveness. Firstly, your speech was really engaging, especially when you spoke about the idea of how and why you love the TV show. I think it's about Gamble. You used clear and vivid language, allowing the audience to easily visualize your experience. Your pacing was well controlled, with several pauses that highlighted key movements in your speeches. Also, your hand gestures really helped the audience to understand your emotion even deeper. While your speech was strong, there are still a few areas to improve. One suggestion is to use different conjunctions. Instead of always using and, you could try to start with a new sentence or use something like in addition. Also, at a few times, there were short shifts or stops in the speech that could be even smoother with a longer pause. Sometimes slowing down the pace slightly when gathering your next thoughts would help maintain a better delivery for all the audience. Finally, I'd like to offer 2 challenges for you to consider in future speeches. First, try incorporating a final thesis or point from your experience to build a stronger emotional connection with the audience. Second, add more conjunctions to make the overall speech smoother. Overall, this was an impressive and thoughtful speech. I learned a lot about how to find your favorite TV show and how fun it just could be. The techniques and details you shared truly made it more engaging and fascinating. Wonderful job. Thank you, and back to General Evaluator Michelle.
Thank you, Devin, for that report. And now we will be having, oh, my bad. Andrew, I believe, doing the all counters report. So take it away.
for the beginning, I was kind of like figuring out stuff. So yeah, and also so based on what I heard, Claire had two Earth, one Soba, and and one repeat. Um, Speaker one had like nothing. Speaker two had no Kara in general because I also combined it with like the evaluator portion or something had two Earth, one Soba, and and one repeat. So the first table topics, uh, Caleb had basically nothing. Claire had only one Devin as table topics master had one one Soba and and two repeats. Angelina for table topics had one Soba and and for table Natasha's table topic, one two Soba and for Henry we had one one Soba and and one excessive pause. For Hillary, we only had the one Soba and and for me, I don't think this is accurate because I typically get much more. Is three and one Soba and and one repeat. And for Michelle as general evaluator, two one Soba and and one repeat.
Thank you for that all counters report, and I believe it's my report now. Okay, let's see for all grammarian. Okay. Sorry, I'm scrolling up. I did them on the same document. Okay, for speaker one, Angelina, I did not hear anything bad, but I heard good vocabulary, and that's good. Obviously, my bad. I'm like not working. For speaker two, Kara, I heard the word of the day. I think that was the only word of the day. Possibly. I'm not sure. My brain is like for toast. Okay, I'm actually like tweaking out right now, but like table topics master Devin, I did not hear anything. For basically, oh wait, Claire use it. My bad, Claire. I don't like. I'm not working. I'm sorry. I low key sound like a pick me girl. Help me. For I think all the table topic speaker possibly. I don't think I caught anything to be honest. It was like all just like flat, like in the middle. It was like fine. And for speech evaluator one, Claire, I heard demon alpha hybrid version of easier and easiest. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna try to, but all I know that it was like easiest and then easier combined together. And for speech evaluator 2, Devin, I don't think I heard anything. I heard good vocabulary. Actually, for both of the speech evaluators, I heard very good vocabulary. And for all counselor Andrew, I don't know why that still says Caleb. I also did not hear anything. So that's basically all. So now I will be handing control over to Caleb, our timer.
Thank you, Michelle. Let me finish writing that time in. And as you can see, yay, I'm starting to use the Zoom plugins. By the way, everyone, just so you know, you can use Zoom plugins on your next Zoom meeting. I like to use, hold on, I'm trying to turn this off. I like to use the notes in the Zoom meeting so that I don't have to take notes on an external window or anything, and it keeps me from being distracted. Okay, I do not know how to close this. This is kind of embarrassing, but I'll go ahead and start my report. So first of all, Angelina, you had a time of 6 minutes and 35 seconds, well in the time frame. Kara was very similar with 6 minutes and 25 seconds. My table topics response was about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Claire was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Angelina was 1 minute and 9 seconds. Ethan was 41 seconds. Natasha was 1 minute and 1 second. Henry was 57 seconds. Hillary was 1 minute and 1 second. Andrew was 1 minute and 40 seconds. Claire, as Speech 1 evaluator, had a time of 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Devin, as Speech 2 evaluator, had a time of 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Andrew, as all counter, had a time of 1 minute and 35 seconds. And great job as your first time ever doing a role. And Michelle had a time of 1 minute and 41 seconds. Thank you, and back to you, Michelle.
All right, so now it's my general evaluation of the meeting. Woo! Okay, so let me do. So for Angelina's speech, I think it was very good. I heard scientific facts and I'm like, smart! That's smart. I should do that. I'm never gonna do that. I'm sorry. And I think you left a very inspiring message, which is do an act of kindness and don't be afraid to, because it's nice. Yeah. And that's basically all. For Kara's speech, wow, that robotics class, that sounds familiar. Oddly familiar. I heard a nice quote. I don't even know what it was, but like something about life. I could never relate because I don't have one. Hyperfixation over a short show is so me, Cordo. And that's basically all for the speech. For Claire's evaluation, it was like actually for both the evaluations, the structure was like very good. Like, okay, I'm saying like a lot. Okay, now I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And that's basically all. But then for Devin's evaluation, when I heard conjunction, I'm like, I got 7th grade trauma. I really do not like conjunctions. And for Devin, again, the table topics, the questions were like really engaging, and listening to everyone's answers was also very engaging, and everyone was interesting and unique in their own way. And my brain hurts. So now I will be passing control back to Claire.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for a wonderful general evaluation. And great job to everyone during today's meeting. You all did a wonderful job. And special great work to Andrew for taking on the odd counter role. You did an amazing job, and it doesn't even seem like it's your first time taking on that role. So great job to you, and wonderful job to everyone. If any of our other members or guests would like to take on a functionary role in the future, I'm pretty sure we'll continue in the future calling on you guys to maybe voluntarily pick a role that you would like to do. So maybe keep some of them in mind, especially for those of you who have been with us for quite a few weeks and have got a good sense of the roles. So if you have any questions about the functionary roles, please let us know and we'd be happy to answer any of them and help you guys out. Other than that, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. All right, can everyone see my screen? Okay, great. So this is the tab for our officer election next Wednesday. So sadly, my president term is over and everyone else has done an amazing job. It's been wonderful seeing you guys all improve, and I've had so much fun being your current club president and also learning so much from you guys. So wonderful work to everyone for this past term, which I believe was January to June. So it was a long 6 months. And then the next term will be from July to December. So the second half of the year. And again, the officer, hold on, this is the wrong date. The officer election will be next week. And essentially you can, let me put this in the chat. All right, so I just put it in the chat, and essentially you can go to this second tab called Officer Election, blah, 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 sign up. And we would love for you guys to sign up. So the document I put in the chat earlier, you can reference that if you want to get to know some of the other roles, and just feel free to put your name down for whatever position you're interested in trying out. And if you have any questions, please also feel free to ask the people who had those positions for this current term, I'm sure they've gained a lot of new experience and learned lots of things that they can teach you guys. So if you have any questions about them, about the role and what it entails, feel free to just email us or you can ask now. And then just another reminder, if you do plan on wanting to do one of these positions next week is when you guys will give maybe a short, brief 2 to 3 minute speech. So I would suggest maybe coming prepared with something or just thinking of some points you want to talk about. All right, does anyone have any questions about officer elections?
Are there any candidates?
Oh, if you asked, are there any candidates? So how this works is you guys will put down your names. So I just created this, so no, there are not any candidates on this tab right now. But I assure you in a couple of days, there will be some names down here. So you guys can think about it, or if you already know which one you're interested in, you can just do it right. Just write your full name in the boxes. Any other questions? Okay, wonderful. All right, does anyone else have any announcements or comments or questions? All right, if not, it was such a pleasure serving everyone for this past term. I've learned again so much from you guys. I've had such a wonderful experience, and I'm sure the other officers have had a wonderful experience as well. So if there are no other questions, I'm very excited for next week's officer elections, and I hope to see some of your names in the tab. All right, and then I'll do my usual at 7:04 p.m. Pacific time. I will adjourn tonight's meeting for the last time. All right, bye everyone. See you guys next week.
Bye.